Hello. I'm so excited to get started. But first of all, thank you so much for signing up to the course. Today, this is going to be a little bit of an introduction. Today, we're going to talk about goals. We're going to talk about an introduction to intuitive eating, which is my favorite topic, or they're all my favorite topics, to be fair. But across the weeks, we're going to touch on a topic, and you can take those pointers away. I'm also obviously going to work on your own personal goal, so by now you should have came up with your own personal goal, which you're going to focus on across this week. And then we will check in at the end of the week, go through what went well, what hasn't gone so well, and also being able to say whether we did or we didn't achieve our goal for the week. That is why we want to make sure it's clear and we're keeping ourselves accountable by, talking to me, your coach, and also talking in the group as well and kind of encouraging people and yeah, just coming together as a team, which is what I wanted to create because I think in the fitness industry, there's a lot of misconception about, calorie counting and what doing what's right and things like that and being motivated all the time when it's very much not like that whatsoever. And I just wanted to create this course to help people realize that it actually can be very simple. And yeah, that is the feeling that I want to create with people. And yeah, I just want people to be able to do it all by themselves and realize that you really don't need to excessively exercise, excessively be hard on yourself, and not enjoy your food to look good in the mirror and feel good about yourself. So, yeah, that's a little introduction about the course. And over the 6 weeks, we will touch on today goal setting, an introduction to intuitive eating. Next week, we will go on to dive deeper into intuitive eating, which will be, a broader topic. And you can also feedback on what you thought about this week once you've kind of adopted some of the things that I'm going to introduce to you. And we can go through your feedback and what you've found with applying some of the intuitive eating guidelines to your life. And yeah, if you've found anything that you're struggling with, so that we can recap and make sure that you are on track. And in the third week, we'll go through habits. So this is an important one to, it kind of links in with motivation in the sense that we need to help create the motivation to create long-term habits. And we're going to go through all of that in the third week. In the fourth week, we will go through confidence in the gym. And obviously, I know some of you may already be training in the gym, and that's totally fine. But it is maybe just for those beginners, or I will try and put in information in there, maybe that people will still find value from if you are already training in the gym. And yeah, it's just about building confidence even further and yeah, really getting to grips with being in the gym in a gym environment and knowing what you're doing because it's so important. Not just for actually like looking good and building muscle and all the gains and stuff like that, but just as a method of doing some sort of exercise, feeling good in your body and injury prevention and just general strength building, basically. And week 4 is pretty much my favorite week because I touch on self-confidence and how to build that basically and the tools that you can use to build that. But I will kind of touch on that a little bit today anyway, because I have a task for you. And week 5 is accountability, and we will go through just methods of keeping yourself accountable throughout the rest of the course as well. So it gives you tools to, yeah, to keep you going throughout the rest of the course, because I think a lot of the time people find that they fall off. And, I found myself in this situation many times before. So I want to make it so that people can do that for themselves and kind of not feeling like they're spending money on stuff, because in reality the problem that people have is sticking to the habits and consistency. That's all you need, and that's all you need to excel, because most people are doing jiu-jitsu on this course this time round, and we all know that consistency is where we're going to get better at jiu-jitsu and what we need to get better at jiu-jitsu. So, without further ado, I wanted to start talking about goals. And I think the first and most important thing is that your goals are exciting, because the first thing that can happen when we're not excited about our goals is that they're literally boring. So, who's going to stick to a boring goal? Not really. That's why I think, for me personally, I have yoga, I have jujitsu, I have weight training. Although sometimes it can be boring, I think it's important to work on new things and create novelty around it. Because essentially in the gym, you are just doing the same movements all of the time. There's only so many movements that the body can do. So I think it is important to switch it up a little bit. But yeah, creating that interest and the reasoning why behind you're doing something is so, so important to creating that drive. So by now you should all have your own individual goal, and maybe write down like three things as to why you should be completing that habit or why it is exciting for you. So think of like the end goal in mind. Think about yoga. So I do yoga because of how it makes me feel. I do yoga because it increases my strength and flexibility. And I do yoga because it calms my mind and I feel more at peace after yoga. So those are like three reasons. So you can preferably write them down so that you're then, you're processing, or these are the three reasons why I want to complete this goal. And then it's going to you're going to increase the motivation to, when you're not feeling so good and when you kind of, you're pushing with the brakes on a little bit, then that's when you can kind of resort to these things and realize, oh, actually, this is why I'm doing this. My future self will be grateful for myself if I do complete this goal. So it needs to be exciting, and very specific, and schedule it into your daily routine, because otherwise, if we don't schedule it in, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I'll go to the gym twice this week and not really pick your day that you're going to go to the gym. Then maybe that day would come round and other things get in the way, because that is basically one of the main reasons I've found with my clients as to why things get in the way is because just things come up. So if you know that you're going to go to the gym at 5 p.m. on Monday and Wednesdays, or if you know you're going to do yoga as soon as you get up out of bed on, maybe even just one day a week to start off with, then that is, you're putting it in the calendar and you literally cannot not do it, basically. So that's why it's so important to have it scheduled and to have it very specific. So say, and also like, for example, going into the gym, having a program ready, and also knowing what sequence that you're going to do in yoga. These are just examples. And maybe only make it 10 minutes for a yoga sequence and don't make it a massive gym program. So that we're removing these barriers to be able to achieve this goal. So that's essentially making it pretty achievable. So by making it exciting, making it specific, and scheduling it in, we're removing the barriers that people usually come up against. And it's very much in the beginning, I personally think, prioritization, because you don't see the benefit in doing in doing the goal. So this is why you've kind of got to create the reasons why behind it, and I will go through this in more detail in the habit section. I'm kind of directing it towards that, but it all links together. And yeah, that's basically why we need to be specific, schedule it in, and make it exciting, because they're just major barriers to creating goals for people. And yeah, we want to have a really good 6 weeks, which I'm super excited about. So, and then the next one is feedback and progress. The reason why we want to make it specific as well is because of the feedback. So at the end of the week, when we check in together, we want to be able to say, did we complete the goal? And also, so you want to be able to say that to yourself so that you can kind of write down your win for the week. And then it's more motivation to go into the next week. So by making it, scheduling it in, making it exciting, see how everything's building up now and giving ourselves feedback, being able to say yes or no, whether we did complete the habit, we're then going to be able to see progress. And then over the 6 weeks time, we're going to see how well we did. And yeah, and by the end of the week, we'll focus on, what progress we made, what we could do better, what didn't go so well. I'm not expecting perfection, but by removing all of these barriers, we're going to then enable us to move forward in a better manner than if we didn't have any of these things. So, and to make it achievable, I've kind of covered that by being specific and also just not creating a goal that's too big for us. So, for example, going into the gym and not having a training program is quite overwhelming because, first of all, you've never really stepped foot in this is just an example. It's like going to a jiu-jitsu gym as well. Stepping into a class is pretty scary when you don't know what to expect, or yeah, you're not really familiar. It's probably full of a bunch of males. And yeah, it's quite overwhelming. So being prepared and knowing what to do, like knowing what to anticipate in a jiu-jitsu class is going to be a little bit less overwhelming than turning up and not really knowing what to expect. So that is one reason, is to kind of make it achievable. So make it known what you need to do and when, essentially. And then that's going to make it easier for you to complete the goal. So, for example, you know, creating like three days of gym workouts and trying to make that your goal in the beginning is really not making it easy for yourself. So that's kind of the idea. We really want to be making it easy for ourselves. So this is why I've asked you to kind of create one goal and create a specific amount of time that you're going to achieve it across the week. And also, yes, get it scheduled in so that we know for sure that it's not a goal that's too big or too small, one that's not really going to challenge us, but one that is going to challenge us enough, but we know that we're going to be able to achieve it by the end of the 6 weeks. Because this also leads into our confidence. Like if when people are always so hard on themselves in terms of goals, they think, oh, should always be doing better, should be in the gym, when in reality, life does actually get in the way and we should have some compassion for ourselves sometimes. So that's why it's important to make it achievable and to go through all of these things, which I'm sure we have already covered, because yeah, I wanted to make sure that in the beginning, that we do have an achievable goal for you and we're all set, ready to roll. But going forwards, this is kind of just like a review of what I think about when creating a goal for you guys, so that in the future, if you do want to actually write some goals down and break them down, then you can also do that for yourself beyond the length of the course. So say maybe you want to be able to do a pull-up in the gym, and you want to be able to do this across a certain amount of months, or you want to get, say, 5 within the next couple of months. You can break this down and work on some of the stuff that you need to work on in the gym to eventually get to your goal. So essentially, this is what this is all about. And it's all about all the stuff in between that helps you achieve your goal. So yeah, the last one is deadline. Create a deadline for it, for your goal, and break it down within that time frame, and ensure each week that you're checking in with yourself and making sure that you're hitting the smaller goals that you've broke it down into, so that you're going to achieve your goal by the end of the deadline. So yeah, that is pretty much goal setting. If you do have any questions on that, or if you want any input, then go ahead. So next we'll go on to the introduction to intuitive eating. And these are just vague guidelines to focus on for what I want you to focus on for the next week. If it's not something you kind of want to go into, or you feel pretty happy with what you're eating, then that's totally fine. But I would really advise you to listen up to what I'm about to say, because honestly, intuitive eating, I did my course in 2021, and so I've been doing it for 2 years now. And as someone who used to count calories and just always counted calories, it really just there's a weight lifted off your shoulders, there really is. So I would highly recommend listening to it, even if you're not really sure about what it is. Again, we'll dive deeper into it in the second in next week. I'll send another training over for you to watch, and it will just be about intuitive eating. So this week, I want you to think about no snacking, and it's not a rule as such because I like to use that word lightly, but by not snacking, intuitive eating is about tuning into your fullness and hunger cues. And by not snacking, you're then enabling yourself to have full meals. Therefore, because when you snack, your body wants you to eat food, right? And when you snack, the snack is probably not enough food to fill you until you're full. So then your body's response is to say, I'm still hungry. So then that might be if you don't eat enough throughout the day, you maybe just have breakfast and then a snack. So then later on, this is what your body's response is going to be like. It's going to be like, I need food. I haven't had enough food. So then this is the things that cause you to overeat on an evening, maybe. So this leads me to my next point is having full meals and eating until you're full and making sure you're doing that with every meal. So then this is going to prevent you from snacking and just generally feel fuller and more satisfied, which leads me to my next one is depending on whether you're training every day, is depending on whether you have 3 to 4 meals a day. And this is where just tuning into your fullness and hunger cues comes from because you're gonna know personally I have 4 meals a day, but I train jiu-jitsu every day and I do at least 2 strength training exercises, strength training sessions a week, and I also do yoga as well. So it is, and also it varies with your the female cycle as well. You tend to eat the week before you're coming on your period, you tend to eat a lot more calories as well. So that is also something to tune into and realize that, yeah, don't be compassionate with yourself if you feel like you are eating more calories and try and not restrict because that is kind of what causes the overeating. And yeah, I'll go over that more in week 2, but it's just something to be aware of for now if you are, on week 4 of your cycle. So yeah, and also the fourth one is to include something sweet. If you have got a sweet tooth, you can have like 3 or 4 meals a day, and one of them can be a sweet meal, just to get rid of the idea that we shouldn't actually be, or maybe your favorite meal. To be fair, doesn't if you're not really particularly sweet tooth, it can be your favorite meal. So those are the 4 things that I want you to focus on. So we have either 3 or 4 full meals a day, and that can be, whatever you like to have. Or I have oats for breakfast. I am getting a bit sick of it. I have oats for breakfast. Then I've been having a tuna sandwich. I've been having jack potato, beans and cheese. What else have I had? I used to have eggs on toast all the time. Yeah, and then I'd have maybe some more oats before training, and then an evening meal with like meat, veg, carbs. It's really that basic. So those are the things that I want you to think about. And yeah, eating 3 or 4 meals, depending on how much energy you're expending, which yeah, is down to you to focus on your fullness and hunger cues. And yeah, just making sure that you're eating until you're full and saying and stopping when you're full. This is so important. And yeah, just no snacking so that you can eat until you're full. So then also it's so much better because then you're not actually thinking about food for the rest of the day because your meals are sorted and organized and you know what time of the day you're going to be eating and things like that. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this and if you do have any questions before we get started. But I wish you the best of luck for this week, and I'm super excited to hear back from you at the end of the week. And yeah, if you have any questions or you want to keep everyone motivated, then just put some comments in the chat.